Good morning students, I welcome you all for the online class of economics. Today's class we will be going to learn the topic law of supply. As last class we were learning about the determinants of supply. If you want to recall once again, I will be recalling the determinants of supply. Supply function has determinants. The parts of determinants of demand supply is what? The thing which makes the supply to be higher. That are the supply. What way supply is getting affected, all those factors will come in determinants of supply. In the determinants of supply, price of related goods and price of own goods is same as in the demand. With that, the number of firms in the industry, goal of the firm, the price of factors of production, then the state of technology, taste not will come, state of technology, expectations of business, then GP, that is government policy. All these are the factors which make the supply of the product. Okay, so that makes the supply. So very first we have learned own price of a commodity. In that we have learned that price of own price of a commodity and supply is having a positive relationship. As the prices of the goods will be increasing, definitely the producer will be supplying more goods at a higher price. So they are having a positive relationship, direct relationship between own price of commodity and its quantity supplied. Okay, price of related goods, when we see supply of a good depends upon the price of related goods also we have learned, like tea and coffee we have taken example. In that tea example we have seen, if the price of the coffee is increasing, then tea producer will do less supply of tea in the market, because if coffee's price is increasing, it is very wrong to increase the price of the tea. But when the people will shift their demand from coffee to tea just because coffee price is increasing, that situation where demand of tea will be increasing. Just because tea demand is increasing, the prices of the goods can be higher up. So instead of making parallelly the prices of tea to increase as compared to coffee, it is better for the producer of tea to supply less the tea in the market, as its demand is increasing just because of coffee price. And that time when the demand will be more and supply will be less, there we can make the prices of the goods will be higher. Number of firms in the industry, when we see market supply of a commodity depends upon number of firms in the industry. Increase in the number of firms implies increase in market supply, and decrease in the number of firms implies decrease in the market supply of the commodity. Goals of the firm, when we see, if the goals of the firm is to maximize profit, more quantity of the commodity will be offered by only at a higher price. On the other hand, if goal is the firm is to maximize sales or maximize output or employment, more will be supplied even at the same price. Prices of factors of production, when we see students, supply of a commodity is also affected by the prices of factors of production of the commodity. If the factor price decreases, cost then the cost of production also reduces. Accordingly, more of the commodity is supplied at its existing price. Conversely, if the factor's price increases, cost of production also increases. In such a situation, less of commodity is supplied at its existing price. State of technology, when we talk student, improvement in the technique of production reduces the cost of production. Consequently, more of the commodity is supplied at the existing price. Business expectations, when see, in situations of bullish expectations, investment tends to rise and supply starts rising. Accordingly, quantity supplied rises even when own price of the commodity remains constant. Just the opposite may happen in the situation of bearish market expectations. Government policy, when we see, taxation and subsidy policy of the government also impacts market supply of a commodity. Increase in taxation may decrease supply, while increase in subsidies may increase it. How market supply trends respond to improvement in technology, when we see improvement in technology lowers cost per unit of output. Accordingly, output is expanded and market supply increases. Quantity supplied tends to rise even when own price of the commodity remains constant. What is bullish and bearish business expectations, when we see bullish expectations refers to a situation when the producers expects high returns, profit in the near future. Accordingly, level of investment and therefore the level of production activity tends to rise in the economy. Bearish expectation, whereas we have learned, it is that situation where the producers expect low returns in the near future. Accordingly, level of investment and therefore the level of production activity tends to fall in the economy. Law of supply, when we see today's topic, law of supply. As a revision over of the last topics what we have learned, now we go with the law of supply students. Law of supply, when we state that other things remaining constant, there is a positive relationship between own price of a commodity and its quantity supplied. Thus, more supplied at higher price and less at the lower prices. Other words, there is positive relationship between own price and quantity supplied of the commodity. The law of supply states that other things remaining constant, quantity supplied increases with increase in own price of the commodity and vice versa. Note, it is a common practice to use the term supply instead of quantity supplied. Thus, it is commonly said that there is a positive relationship between own price and supply of a commodity. But it must be borne in mind that the term supply in relation to own price of commodity always means quantity supplied. Okay, now we will proceed with the law of supply. If it is clear, what is the law of supply? That other other determinants of demand remain constant. Quantity supplied increases with increase in own price of commodity has demand factor only, vice versa. So same thing will be said. Law of supply states that only factors means the determinants of supply, only one determinant will be changing and other determinants will be constant, and the changing factor is increase in own price of commodity. It is a common practice to use the term supply instead of quantity supplied. Thus, it is commonly said that there is a positive relationship between own price and supply of a commodity. But it must be borne in mind that the term supply in relation to own price of commodity always means quantity supplied. Explanation: when we see law of supply is explained with the help of table number 3. Law of supply, positive relation between price and quantity supplied of a commodity. You can see Px and Sx. When price of a commodity is 10, the supply is 100. When the price increases suddenly from 10 to 11 rupees, you can see in the tabular data, 10 to 11 it is increasing, we are seeing the supply is also increasing from 100 to 200. A mere increase in 1 rupee is increasing supply of the product to 100. Then price of the commodity from increase from 11 to 12. 1 rupees increase, the supply is also increased from 200 to 300. So what we are seeing, 1 rupees increase in price is making double the supply of the product in the market. So that is the particular student about the supply factors, positive relation between price and own quantity supplied. As the price is increasing, supply is also increasing in the market. That is the own price, not the related goods price. Table 3 shows that quantity supplied increases from 100 to 200 units when own price of the commodity increases from rupees 10 to rupees 11 per unit. Likewise, if it increases from 200 to 300, same thing is explained what I explained to you people. Nothing more is there, and the diagram also will be showing that only. Law of supply states that when your supply is, if your example, it is not taking the data, only one diagram is there. You can learn by the alphabets there. When your supply was O to P, price was O to P, price was OP, okay. Quantity supplied was OQ. Quantity supplied was OQ. And this is the point of intersection. I will be showing how the point of intersection lying. The 2 points where it is meeting, price and quantity, it is known as point of intersection. There the line will start. When your price increase from P to P1, it means total price is O to P1, okay. Price is OP1. The quantity demanded is OQ1. Sorry, not demanded, it is supplied. Quantity supplied is OQ1. Okay. So here the point of intersection will be here. Now these two intersection line, if you will connect, this is the supply curve which is forwarding. From down to upward, it is sloping upward. So that is the diagram how it is explaining to us. It is also showing when the prices of the commodities are increasing, then the producer supplies also more. So that is the law of supply. Other factors is not affecting to the increase in supply of the product. Only one factor is making the supply of product more, that is the own price of commodity. Next is assumptions of the law of supply. When we go with the assumptions of the law of supply, it states that important assumptions of the law of supply are as follows. There is no change in the prices of factors of production. There is no change in the technique of production. There is no change in the goal of the firm. There is no change in the price of related goods. These are the factors, if you will notice. This is PF. This is technique. This is the PF is this factors of production. This is the G. This is the PR. This is expectation E, and this is government policy G, government factor G will be there. Government policy relating to price and production of the commodities is not changed. So all goal of the firm is not changing, expectation of the firm is not changing, nothing is changing, only one project is changing, that is own price of commodity. Because of that the supply of the goods is increasing, so that one determinant is making the supply to be higher. So that is law of supply. Exceptions are there to the law of supply also. The positive relationship between own price and quantity supplied of a commodity may not always hold good or may not firmly hold good in certain situations, as are as follows. There are some exemptions where law of supply will not work. That exceptions are as follows. The law of supply does not apply strictly to agricultural products whose supply is governed by natural factors, because supply of agriculture product or farm product cannot be increased by our demand. It can be increased only by natural factors. Like I said one example, that now the farmers will get affected because their farm product which has to be sowed down now has get wasted in this season. This climatic change has a sudden climatic change had spoiled their agriculture products, and because of that what products were ripe that also get damaged, and what product were sowing process that will also get damaged. This damage will not give good result to the farmers. Their supply will be very less, because already before time only they got damage of their products. So supply cannot be increased. This cannot increase as the price of the goods is increasing, because supply can be that much only how much had been grown there. And for agricultural farming, natural factors are favorable, not the determinants of supply. So that makes the sense. This is exception to the law of supply. On depending on the price, we cannot increase the supply of the production of agriculture product. If due to natural calamities there is a fall in the production of wheat, then its supply will not increase, however high price, higher the may be. Okay. Supply of goods having social distinction will remain unlimited even if they tends to rise. Social distinctions, inferior and superior goods, social distinctions are there. People who are having the income, they are having the living standard, they don't want to shift their demand from the particular product. So they will be demanding though the price is increasing. So that will be not affecting the exemption to law of supply. At a given point of time, sellers may be willing to sell more of a personal commodity even at a lower prices. So that are the things, students, which are breakable exception to the law of supply. In that it comes supply goods having social distinction. If people prefer to have coffee, the own price of coffee will not affect their taste and the preference. They will give preference to coffee any season. So that is the sense which makes exception to the law of supply to be breakable. Movements along a supply curve and shift in supply curve, when we see, there are movements in supply curve also has a demand curve. There is the movements in the shift in supply curve also. Let us see supply curve movements and shiftment. Movements along a supply curve, if we see, it refers to extension or contraction of supply response to change in the own price of the commodity. Other determinants of supply remains constant. Extension of supply implies increase in quantity supplied in own price of the commodity increases. Contraction of supply implies decrease in quantity supplied when own price of the commodity decreases. Shift in supply curve refers to increase or decrease in quantity supply even own price of the commodity remains constant. Means other determinants or factors are changing, it will increase the supply of the commodity. That is a simple meaning. So movement we can see how we can compare. Movement in the supply curve is just because own price of commodity is making the supply to be higher or lower. Okay. And shipment in supply curve we can observe when own price of commodity is constant and other determinants of supplies are working. They are working. So they are the shipment we can see. These are caused by factors than other than own price of commodity, hence it is a shipment of curve. Increase in supply implies a forward shift in supply curve, and quantity supplied increases even when own price of the commodity is constant also. Decrease in supply curve implies a backward shift in supply curve. Quantity supplied decreases even when own price of commodity is constant. Following is a tabular and diagrammatic present description of the concept of movement along a supply curve and shift in supply curve. Movement along a supply curve, extension and contraction of supply. Movement along a supply curve caused by change in own price of the commodity are often studied as follows. Extension of supply, contraction of supply. Extension of supply occurs when quantity supplied of a commodity increases due to an increase in own price of the commodity. Contraction of supply occurs when quantity supplied of a commodity decreases due to decrease in own price of the commodity. Table 4 and figure 4 shows extension of supply. Table number 5 and figure number 5 shows the contraction of supply. Extension of supply, when we want to see, students, what we are seeing there, when the price of commodity was 1 rupee, quantity supplied was 1. Description we will see later, because in this no effect will be understood by us. When the price increases by 1 from 1 rupees to 5 rupees, okay, when the price Px is increasing from 1 to 5 rupees, what we are observing? Quantity supplied increase from 1 to 5. What we are definitely description will be showing, rise in own price of the commodity will give extension of supply. The supply curve will be forwarding. Shall we see the supply curve forwarding? This is the first 0 to 1. 1 was the price Px, it is Px, it is Qx. You can see here it is mentioned Px and Qx. What we are seeing, when the price of the commodities was 1 rupee, quantity supplied was 1. So here the curve 8 point of intersection. When the supply price increased from 1 to 5 rupees, quantity supplied also increased from 0 to 5. So it is the next data. Adjoining this line we will get supply. What it is showing, it is forward shipment. It is forward shipment. Okay. In table number 4, when price of the commodity X is rupees 1 per unit, its quantity supplied is 1 unit. When price rises to rupees 5 per unit, supply extends to 5 units. In figure 4, SS is the supply curve of commodity X. When price is rupees 1 per unit, supply is 1 unit. When price rises to rupees 5 per unit, supply extends to 5 units. The producer moved from point number A to point number B on the same supply curve, which is why it is called movement along the supply curve. In table number 5, when price of the commodity X is rupees 5 per unit, quantity supplied is 5 units. Price falls to rupees 1 per unit, quantity supplied decreases to 1 unit. So it is showing there, when the price falling down, supply also decreasing. So nothing is there that will show backward shift of the supply curve instead of forward shipment, because the supply is going down. Why more of a commodity is offered at a higher price? If this is a question, more of a commodity is offered at a higher price because of 2 reasons. First, other things remaining constant. Higher prices implies higher profit. Accordingly, the producer is induced to produce more and sell more. Increase in output required to increase supply occurs under the law of diminishing return. It implies increasing MC marginal cost as output is increased. Accordingly, price must rise if more is to be produced to supply curve. Next topic is shift in supply curve, increase and decrease in supply curve. This we will see in the next class. Increase and decrease in supply shipment we will see in the next class. Thank you for today's class. Have a nice day.